Hey everybody, this is Mike with Freearming Hiker, and I am on my way to do the Mystic Falls and Overlook loop. This is a really pretty waterfall. It's got a great overlook of the Upper Geyser Basin, and typically this trail is accessed from Biscuit Basin. But right now, this is 2025, as of the last 2 years, there have been ongoing hydrothermal explosions in Biscuit Basin, which has closed that area indefinitely. I'm assuming it will reopen at some point. It's not likely going to be this year. So if you're watching this and you want to do this hike, check with the visitor center about Biscuit Basin to see if it is open or not, because as of 2024 and 2025, it is closed for the season. So that being said, right across the street from the Daisy Geyser trailhead, there is a secondary access to Mystic Falls. There's also an osprey fighting with a bald eagle back there. That's pretty cool. Anyway, this trail starts right across the street from the Daisy trailhead, and across the Firehole River into the bald eagle and osprey. And this pretty much takes you right behind Biscuit Basin. So you kind of bypass all the hydrothermal explosions, which is always a good thing. So it's about 1.5 miles to the falls, and then including the overlook, probably should put it around 2 miles round trip. I will let you know toward the end, and yeah, we'll go see what this trail holds. Another little fun fact about this trail is, right back there where that, there we go. Right back there where that bald eagle is, and this whole ridge line that is pretty much all around me, that ridge line is the caldera rim of the Yellowstone supervolcano. It was an explosion, volcanic eruption about 640,000 years ago, and the eruption was so huge it left a caldera about 30 or 35 miles by 45 miles wide, which was massive. So this caldera rim we're seeing is just a tiny little chunk of it, and much of the lower loop of the Grand Loop Road falls within that caldera. So that's why you get all these geysers and hot springs and thermal features inside of Yellowstone, because that supervolcano is producing heat, which has to escape the Earth's crust, and it does so through all the thermal features in Yellowstone. That's why there are more thermal features in Yellowstone than anywhere else in the world combined. And in case you're wondering why that osprey was harassing that bald eagle, what happens a lot of times is the osprey will go and catch a fish. They tend to be a little more efficient at catching fish in rivers and streams, lakes, things like that. And what happens is the bald eagle sits and waits and watches them. When they see the osprey catches a fish, they will go surprise attack them from the back, cause them to drop the fish, and they will go and steal the fish. So the bald eagle most likely stole the fish, and the osprey was harassing the bald eagle because it wanted its fish back. I did just pass the junction with the back of Biscuit Basin, and as you can see, it is closed. So now the trail takes a little bend and goes into this forest, and there's a little bit of forest walking before catching up with the creek, and that goes straight up to Mystic Falls. Alright, so I just passed the junction with the Overlook, and so that makes a loop, so you just go around the loop and go through the falls, go up to the Overlook, and drop back down to the main trail. That came in at about 3/4 of a mile in, and I'm still continuing through the forest. Well, I can kind of faintly hear some water. I think we're getting close. Here is another junction. This is for the Summit Lake Trail, which is a very different trail. That is actually part of the CDT, the Continental Divide Trail. So if you're hiking this mid-late summer, you may see some CDT hikers coming through. So head right there and continue heading down the trail through this pretty forest. Not long after that Summit Lake junction, you start paralleling the creek. Stay a little bit above it, but it's still really pretty. A lot of great vantage points to enjoy it, and of course it's always nice having the white noise of a rushing creek. So just gonna keep heading along here, and the falls will not be much farther, most likely. Okay, so I am at Mystic Falls. You can hear it back there. I had to step away a little bit just so the noise wouldn't be overpowering, but it is really pretty waterfall, great views, even late in the season, flowing really nicely, and just a really stunning waterfall. It got its name because there maybe are, but at least were, some thermal features that would kind of spout up along the base and produce some steam. And it's pretty warm right now. I try to get here in the morning, but even so, it's getting a little warmer. So that's probably why I'm not seeing steam. If you come here early in the morning, first thing at sunrise, maybe closer to the evening, you may see some of that steam, maybe earlier and later in the season. And that produces the sort of really mystic, ethereal quality to the waterfall. And I have an old shot that I got that was taken late afternoon one season, I think in the fall, so that definitely had some chillier temperatures, produced some more steam, and you can see where the name comes from. So for some people this is the destination, and that's perfectly fine. I am going to continue up right this Overlook trail. That's going to go up to the Overlook, up on top of this little volcanic butte, and it makes a nice little loop and drops back down to that first junction I mentioned back there a little bit. So gonna move on and see what this Overlook holds. Okay, learn something new every day. Unbeknownst to me, there is an actual Overlook for Mystic Falls, which is just up from the little area where you first encounter them. So I suppose technically wasn't so much a fork in the trail it was actually the trail. And people created forks through trying to get some better views and things like that. But it's a great view of the falls from up there, even better than down there, I'd say, or argue. And the other nice thing is that you can see one of the thermal features producing some steam kind of higher up toward the top. So that's probably one of the hotter ones. But yeah, either way, great view. And taking this trail up, which has taken a steep rate. So keep going up and see what we find. Getting some stunning views of the creek going downstream and into the Upper Geyser Basin. That's a pretty nice early light. Nice views up here. Still climbing. So it looks like the bulk of the climbing is done. A lot quieter back here. And ascending still, but at a more gentle pace. And deep in the forest now. It's gotten really quiet. And battery on my phone is starting to die. So I may try to conserve it a little more and make updates when I can. But I don't think anything too terribly eventful is going to happen before I get to the Overlook. So I'll just roll with that and see what we find. Okay, so just reached the top where there is a junction with the Fairy Creek Trail, which takes a big loop back around to Fairy Falls, which is in about 9 miles from here. So a longer way, probably very scenic though, probably not many people. So put that on your radar if you want to get some solitude while going to access Fairy Falls. Also a couple backcountry campsites back there, so you got a possibility of just backpacking in. But that was definitely the apex of the climb, and looks like now I'm headed down to the Overlook and wind up closing out the loop shortly after, I'm sure. So I am currently heading down from the Overlook. It is an absolutely stunning view of Biscuit Basin and the Upper Geyser Basin and even that Caldera Rim. It's a great addition to the trail. Does add a bit of elevation gain, and a few parts can be a little strenuous, but it's not that bad. If you're looking for a little short challenge, it is a great hike, beautiful overlook. And I will say, if you're coming and looking for some good photography light, I would maybe do this trail later in the afternoon. I've got 2 different shots. I took a shot while I was just there, kind of mid-morning right now. And then years ago, I did take another shot at sunset, and I will show you the comparison between those two. You can see in the morning, you are looking into the sun, so you get a lot of backlit. It's a beautiful overlook, but it's still, you know, looking into the sun, which can be challenging for photography. But if you look at the sunset shot, where the sun is behind you and it's lighting up the landscape, it is just much prettier, much more softer light, even light. And even if you're not there at sunset, more late afternoon, it'll still be really pretty. You get some nice light behind you. So yeah, I'm gonna continue to try and make updates and before my battery dies, and I'm gonna focus on getting down this trail. Oh, ooh, a little slippery. All right, let's pay attention. So I have just closed out the loop, coming down from the Overlook, trying to rush so my phone doesn't die on me. And yeah, it dropped down from the Overlook, some great views all along the way. Continued to drop down into the forest and soon catches up with that original junction, which I just passed through. Get to the left, and that takes you right back to the trailhead and Biscuit Basin. So, great hike, well worth doing. Please like and subscribe if you enjoyed this video. Lots more to come. It does a world of difference for me, and I appreciate every one of it. And any questions or comments, feel free to leave them down in the comments below. And thanks for watching. Happy trails.